Thank you very much, Pablo. It is a bit weird when you don't know what they're saying, so I do apologise. I did languages at university, but they were German and French, not Spanish, so I will continue in English. Now, I'm really pleased that when I came up here that I wasn't preceded by a song and dance act, because when I presented at Sustainable Brands in Istanbul, I was preceded by some local ladies who were tea producers, and they came on to do a song and a dance to the tune of La Bamba. So I had to follow that, which was not easy. So I'm pleased that Pedro didn't decide to do a song and dance just now. Thank you very much for your invitation to come and speak. It's my very first time, not only in Buenos Aires, Argentina, but in the whole continent. So I'm absolutely delighted to be here. And I'm going to talk to you about the work that we've been doing in sustainability and meaningfulness over the last few years. I'm going to talk about two different studies and show you examples of the work that we've been doing. The first study is our Meaningful Brands study, which has been going for the last 5 years. And I'll talk a bit more about that in detail as we go through. The second study is a study that we've been doing as a consumer companion study to the UN Global Compact CEO study around the issues of sustainability and the responsibility of businesses in that area. And I know that we've heard quite a bit this morning already about the responsibility of businesses and brands. And Kwan stated right at the start the importance of actually brands in this arena. And this is the first time that we will have talked about this particular consumer companion study at Sustainable Brands, but also anywhere outside of London. And it's something that we've done in conjunction with the Accenture. So the biggest issue is that actually, despite all of the great efforts around sustainability programs, few efforts are really genuinely cutting through to matter to people. So globally, 72% of people say that business is failing to take care of the planet and society as a whole. So it's not just the planet, but it's actually society. And we've heard several speakers this morning talk about why people buy products. And that is what one of the important things. People don't just buy products because they want to consume. They buy them because they do something for them. And I'll come on to talk about that in a little bit as well. So business has to meet its expectations in an expanded role. I think a few years ago, people would have expected the government to be the people that are responsible for improving our quality of life. But this is a question asked around the globe. In 30 markets, we asked this question: who is responsible for improving your quality of life? And you can see that the figures for business and government are very similar. And you can see in Argentina, it's almost 90% of people agree that businesses, and I believe by extension brands, have a really important role to play in improving our quality of life. And actually, it's because, what I said just now is people aren't just seeking products and services, they want better lives. They buy products because they do something to improve their quality of life. And so that's what they're seeking when they do something when they buy a product and they purchase something. I'm going to introduce you to a Greek concept called eudaimonia. Now, this is if you imagine back to 470 BC, and Socrates and his friends are discussing the moral code for the nation, the framework of ethics for living. And they were challenged with sorting that out in ancient Greece. And I believe that today, we need to provide a framework around sustainability, around ethical and transparent living for people, and that's the role that brands have to take hold of and grasp. Eudaimonia translated means living meaningfully well. And I think that's a great term to take hold of. That's what brands are helping people to do, is to live meaningfully well. And I believe that with our Meaningful Brands work that we've been doing, we've been helping our clients to do that, to help their consumers and their potential consumers to live meaningfully well. So eudaimonia, that's a phrase to take with you. But the problem is that there's this big expectation of brands and what people want them to do. But globally, there's a big disconnection between people and brands. So this is from our Meaningful Brands study. And we ask people, how much would you care if a particular brand disappeared? They had to be a bit familiar with the brand, but they didn't have to be a user. Globally, out of 700 brands, 73% of them, people wouldn't care if they disappeared. And again, less than 20% of brands globally notably improve our quality of life. That's pretty damning statistics for brands. And actually, across markets, those relationships are largely broken. And when I've highlighted the Europe figure, because obviously that's where I've come from, and actually we're very cynical in Europe and in the UK. So only 5% of people think brands contribute to their quality of life. And that, that 27% is the inverse of the 73. That's the percentage of brands who people would care about if they disappeared. In UK and Europe, it's only 7%. But look, LATAM, there's a bigger positive story. There's an opportunity for brands here because actually people are believing that brands can make a difference to your quality of life. And brands face growing expectations across two areas. In solving social and environmental problems, you can see those figures are pretty high across the board. So that's the society issue, if you like. But they also should play a role in improving my quality of life. They need to do something for me. And if brands don't get those things right, actually then what happens is that people consider the impact that their purchasing has when they decide which brand that they're going to buy. So this is a real big, when I talk about it in the UK particularly, I talk about it as a wake-up call for brands. But I think it's something that brands around the globe need to be addressing. And the reason that they need to be addressing it, and this is from our study that we did with the Consumer Companion study to the UN study, is that people are twice as likely to choose responsible, ethical, sustainable brands over their competitors. Now, I'm not pretending that they'll do that if they have to pay a price premium. People want price to remain equal. But if all other things are equal, then people will think about the impact of their purchase and they'll buy one brand over another when they are aware that it contributes to greater social and/or environmental impacts. And that awareness is really important. People need to know what brands are doing. It's no good doing it and just hiding your light under a bushel or not talking about it. And you can see, again, in Latin America, that's even more prevalent than it is in regions around the globe. Not only will they choose your brand, but they will be more loyal to it. They'll be loyal to brands that demonstrate responsible and ethical behaviour. And it's really important in an age where people are empowered to find stuff out about brands. There is no place to hide. It is really, really important that brands demonstrate that responsible and ethical behaviour. And look, 78% of people in LATAM are likely to be more loyal to brands that are responsible, ethical, and sustainable. So this is a big, just a big galvanising of brands. Come on, let's do this, and let's talk about what we're doing in that arena. And importantly, so they'll buy you, they'll stay loyal to you, and they'll recommend you. So they'll tell your stories for you, fueling that money can't buy organic marketing. So they'll recommend brands that behave responsibly to family, friends, and colleagues. And that's important, really, particularly in highly engaged growth markets where people are searching out recommendations for the brands that they should buy. So, and in the climate that we live in, where marketing money is scrutinized so much more than it ever used to be, this is the way forward. It's getting consumers to tell your stories for you, because also people will trust other people and they'll trust their friends and their family recommendation. And you know what? Actually, it makes a difference. So that figure about people will recommend brands that behave responsibly, and they're more likely to buy brands when they understand the positive impact of their purchase. But on the other hand, almost 2/3 of people globally have avoided a brand when they were aware of its poor social or environmental ethics or behaviour. And this is an example from the UK, where Starbucks was lambasted in the press for tax evasion. And it suffered its first sales drop ever in the UK, 6 percentage points drop in sales because of the tax evasion. So people voted with their feet, with their purchasing feet, and they went and bought their coffee somewhere else. So it didn't matter all of the great things that they were doing, because they weren't being consistent across the board. They suffered consumer backlash. So people power is really, really important for brands to take notice of these days. And you know what? It does absolutely pay to address the issue. This is our top 25 meaningful brands globally, and we've looked using the blue line on their performance versus the Stoxx 1800 over the last 10 years. And you can see that they outperformed the stock market. Now, everybody fell off a cliff at the end of 2008, but as the gap as the time has gone on, the gap has been growing. And so the more meaningful a brand is, the more it's going to outperform the stock market. So it pays back to the bottom line. So our belief and our pathway to growing that brand value is to move away from functional benefits of brands, and actually to move brands away from just talking about making them aspirational or desirable, but actually making brands mean something to consumers. It's not just enough to say that this brand will make you look better or be better. It's actually about making a meaningful difference. So Meaningful Brands these are our 2014 study, is just in field at the moment. The examples I'll show you are from the 2013 study, but we're going to talk to 250,000 consumers. We're talking to them right at this moment because the study's in field. And so it connects human well-being with brands as well as society well-being, and it measures the quality of benefits that brands bring to people's lives. So the big point of difference with Meaningful Brands is there a unique index that measures a range of benefits. So product is really important there on the left-hand side. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't have a great product. But importantly, within that area, there is customer focus, listening and caring about your customers. People don't want to feel that they're just another number or another statistic when it comes to what the brands that they're buying. They want to be treated well as customers, and they want to know that they're buying things that are fairly priced for the quality that they're getting. And on the right-hand side, we have society, and that ranges from being ethical, honest, and transparent in everything that you do and say, to making a difference to the environment, to creating and benefiting the local economy, and to treating people well if they work for you. And that's particularly important for large companies because word gets out if they're not treated well. And in the middle is this third dimension, which is making a difference to my life. Does this brand make me happier? Does it help me to express my identity? Does it help me to make my life easier, to manage my spending? Does it make me healthier, fitter, smarter, wiser? What are these brands doing to help me manage my life? And Meaningful Brands is the combination of all three of those angles. And truly well meaningful brands do well in all three areas. And brands that do that, they enhance the well-being of people, communities, and societies are more meaningful across the globe. And these are some global stats. And we see some similarities and some differences across the globe. So in Argentina, food is very meaningful as a category. In the UK, it's slightly less so because you can buy the same brands in every retail store. So actually, it's the retailers in the UK that are more meaningful. And meaningful doesn't just pay back to the bottom line, it pays back all the way through the purchase funnel. You'll get people having a more positive impression, choosing you, considering you, recommending you, and contributing to your quality of life. Sally talked about purpose, and actually a few people have talked about purpose this morning. And meaningful brands have a purpose that connects them to people with authenticity. It's got to be real. Brands have got to be real with people. They can't just dress up what they're doing and put a veneer of respectability in the sustainability and the meaningful area. They have got to follow through the whole way through. A few examples from the UK of brands that are doing something meaningful. This is AXA PPP Healthcare. In the UK and in many other markets, insurance and finance are almost one of the least meaningful categories. It's not a tangible product, and you're paying money to insure yourself against something that might never happen. But you know what, when we delve deeper, actually for the finance and insurance category, emotional factors are really important in driving meaning. So I am insuring myself in the hope that I don't have an accident, in the hope that I don't get a serious illness. And actually then we sat down with AXA and we said, what is your purpose? And actually the purpose is an expertise in cancer care. So we did a week-long partnership with Cancer Research UK, with Channel 4, and brokered that partnership to raise money for cancer research, but also to establish AXA's credentials in that area and to change the conversation, because people weren't aware of the great things that AXA were doing. This is a bit of a strange one, probably. So National Express is a coach company in the UK. It's seen as cheap, a bit nasty, probably, and people have really outdated perceptions of it. And it only ever gets discussed about with relation to price. People only take the coach if they can't afford the train, on the whole. But you know what? We sat down with them and we said, what is it? What is it that your purpose is? How can we make you more meaningful to people? And you know what it was? The overwhelming reason that people travel with National Express was to visit family and friends. So they, you know when you get off a train or a coach or a plane and you see the person you love, what's the first thing that you do? You smile, because you're so happy to see them. So the strategy for National Express and the purpose is they don't sell travel, they sell smiles. And that makes a huge difference. So let me play you an ad, their most recent ad, which has just aired in the UK.
Tired of drifting and searching and shifting from town to town. I can't blame you if you won't take me back. After everything I put you through, come on, silver lady, take my word. I won't run out on you again. Believe me, oh, I've seen the light. It's just one long fight without you. Here I am a million miles from home. The Indiana wind and rain cut through me. I'm lost and alone, chilled to the bone, silver lady.
So you know, that has really changed perceptions. It's only had one burst of advertising in the UK so far, but it's really changed people's perceptions of the people who've been exposed to that advertising. And no mention of price in that ad at all. So every brand has a purpose. You just need to work out what it is. And my last example is Barclays. In the UK, it's had a perception of being very big, distant, impersonal, not very responsible and transparent and ethical in its communications or how it treats people. But you know, over the last year, it has created what they call 7,000 digital eagles in its branches, people who will help people with internet issues, online issues, and you don't have to be a customer and you don't have to have a product with them. They will help you, and they will even come out to your home to help you. And I think it's best described in my second video. If you could play it, please.
There's so many things I would like to do, I'm a bit afraid of. Given though it's something outside our frame of reference is all this, you know, this new stuff. Now, where do I go now? Got it. That's got it. Now then. Maybe they're trying to get through. How would I know? I can see it going, but I don't know what to do. Hold on, I've lost my adder. Wait a minute. Hi, I can hear you.
But I can't see you.
No, I can't see you either. Oh, I can see you.
Why can't I see you moving?
Well, we're getting through, love. This sound coming on. He's down there.
Why don't you touch the camera, Kent?
Touch the camera, right? With the arrow?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on. Now I'm...
Got it.
It's fantastic. Can you see me full face? Or is it just my nose? How's that? We've got there, Val. The world's our lobster, love. Thank you so much for what you've done for us.
I told you you'd do it today.
Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna go now, but I don't know how to switch off.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Who would have thought we'd actually got online and Skyped each other?
Barclays Digital Eagles are not just teaching new skills like online banking, they're changing people's lives. To get more confident online, just ask your bank.
And I think that's a brilliant example of a brand that is trying to change the conversation about how meaningful it is. So thank you very much for your time and your attention.